What is up, guys? Alex here with another Gamemaker tutorial. In this series is focused on beginners just starting with Gamemaker. We're going to teach you everything you need to know. Over here on the right hand side, we're going over this asset bar here in this video. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. I'd appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and just jump right into today's video. So right here on this right hand side, we're going to be managing assets, and an asset is anything that you basically create in Gamemaker. So if you think of a guy like Mario in like a game, right? So Mario is an object because he has code. He does stuff like when the user presses a button, he runs, right? So that code lives in an object, but then that object can actually look like anything, and what it looks like is its sprite. So then there's these other assets, like there's paths that, maybe you want a guy to follow a certain path, or you want a bullet to follow a certain path. You have different fonts you can use, and this is just a way to organize your fonts here in this asset browser. But it's good to be familiar with there's actually some options here that a lot of people just don't know about, especially if you're new, figuring out how to make another folder. That's another trick in itself. So starting right here at the top, there's a search bar. If you have an asset, and especially when the games start getting large or we start getting lots of folders and stuff, you'll see this search will come in handy. We'll put in a certain thing like player or enemy, whatever, and it'll pull up all the assets over here with that particular thing. It could also be a tag, so we'll be able to tag assets. Maybe it'll be a certain class of objects that anytime the player touches these objects, the player just dies. But it's just a whole bunch of different objects, and it could vary. We might want to add objects later. We could actually use a tag to tag those type of objects, and then we can refer to that tag in the code, and we can also refer to it here in the search bar. So that's the search, and then we have this create an asset. So there's a bunch of different ways you can create an asset. You can go here, create an asset. You can right click in here, go up to here, create an asset. You can also just create an asset right here from this little button. And you can see it'll just be the same kind of thing. You can also create multiple assets, which is helpful. Right here we have the filter. Here, we'll close this up. We have this filter here. This just, again, lets us sort by different things. So if we only want to see scripts or only want to see objects, especially when you'll see when these games start getting large, you'll have a whole bunch of different just folders and paths and stuff. So these filters will help. Right here, there's some extra little things you can get to. This game options is the same one that's here, but it's just another way that you can get to this, and you can set different things like the frame rate, you got default draw color, stuff like that. So this is a good place to know, especially when you start wanting to export your game. You're going to need to mess with these settings and the Windows settings here. And again, we can just close this since this is just in a workspace. This just opens up. If you hit control and zoom out, you can see that we just have windows open. You can open or close these, but they'll just open up this workspace. You can close them up. The next thing we have here is, we can get that back by clicking this button here. Next thing we have here is a room manager. This is just when we have multiple rooms, like if we had a bunch of different levels and they connected to each other, we could manage them here. We could do some inheritance. So like one room goes to another, how it inherits different properties, but we'll get to all that later. Right here we have this quick access menu. This is of course just like recent stuff that we were in, just another easy way to get to stuff. I use this less. I use these sort paths a little bit more. These are all just the main sorts. So what you can do is actually create an object, a script, or anything, and you'll notice it can go underneath any folder. So these are already pre-assigned, but they don't automatically sort your stuff. You have to create it in the right place. The other thing is, the other quick tip is when you're looking to create other folders, there's like subfolders. They're actually called groups here, and it's kind of one of those things, if you didn't know, it's kind of hard to find. It's hard to find an answer about that. But it's another little quick tip. You can, once you have like 10 or 15 scripts or a bunch of different objects and stuff like that, we can start sorting them with these other groups. Like just create another thing. It'll be, subfolder. But for now, we'll just get rid of that. We'll just go ahead and delete. We'll get rid of this script here. The last thing here is, again, once this gets big, this asset window becomes more valuable, but you can open it up here, especially when we start breaking these paths up. You can zoom in on paths. So if we had a whole bunch you can't see or whatever, I don't know, this zoom thing is here. It's another little thing to know about. So yeah, that's it for this asset bar. It is good to know this. Oh, there's actually one more thing about the right click here. Yeah, so that's it. So it's just a right click here on this button. So I'll just, again, we've seen this a couple times, but there's just different things you can do here. But yeah, that's really it. That's the tips for this asset bar. So again, if you guys like this kind of content or want to see more of it, go ahead and tell me what you guys want to learn in the comments. Again, I'm trying to really target just really beginners, so anybody that doesn't really know anything, just wants to know the basic layout, the basic coding, what the basic variables are, how to how to use if statements and how to use for statements, stuff like that. So any questions you guys got, just throw them in the comments. And as we go ahead and build this game out, give me your ideas, and we'll start incorporating those ideas in the game that we build out. And as always, like and hit that bell to just follow this series. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.